ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। श्री ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। So again a very warm welcome to all of you for this Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam reading session. It is very our fortunate that we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam. It is very auspicious to read Srimad Bhagavatam, as we all know. So some of the advantages we discussed in the last class also, and the verses which I said now, the 3 verses also describes the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam. So I hope you all have the soft copy of Srimad Bhagavatam in the PDF format, or in the if you don't have it, you can just go to vedabase.com and you will get the online version of that. So if you have your laptops with you, you can just open vedabase.com or .io. It will go to the same link, and you can select Canto 1. So you can select that Canto. And we'll see one verse which Sutta Goswami is telling to Naimisharanya Rishis. So last time we saw that there are too many Rishis in the Naimisharanya and they are asking from Sutta Goswami, right? So what Sutta Goswami is telling to Naimisharanya Rishis, and as the importance of Bhagavatam, we'll see in the in Canto 12, chapter 12, verse number 59. So if you all can open that, or I'll just read the translation. 12:12:59. So when I say 12:12:59, it is Canto 12, chapter 12 and verse 59.
Canto 12, Prabhuji? Canto 1.
Canto 12.
Canto 12.
Canto 12, verse 12, chapter 12, verse 59. So Sutta Goswami is telling to Rishis or the sages at Naimisharanya. What he's saying is, I'll just read the translation. One who with undeviating attention constantly recites this literature at every moment of every hour, as well as one who faithfully hears even one verse or half a verse or a single line or even half a line, certainly purifies his very self. So what Sutta Goswami is saying, that even if one hears, even if one recites, even if one recites a verse or a half line, or if someone hears very attentively even one line, even one verse or half verse or even half line, then he purifies himself. So this is the glory of Bhagavatam, that even if you read, even if you recite one verse or even half verse, the importance, the glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam is such, like it will purify yourself completely. And even if you hear attentively even one verse, it will do the same thing. So the person who is speaking is also benefited, and the person who is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam is also benefited, because Srimad Bhagavatam is the pure nectar, which we saw last time also. It is the ripened fruit, it is the nectar which is flowing from the ripened fruit of the Vedas. So if you consider Vedas as full tree, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit. When you say ripened fruit, we discussed this example last time also. When you say ripened fruit, means the paka hua phal jo hota hai. So Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam is like the paka hua phal, and not only that, it is the juice of that paka hua phal directly flowing into your mouth. So that is, it is compared with Srimad Bhagavatam. So glorifying Bhagavatam is important before we start. So one who even receives, now we will go to one more verse, 2:37. Canto 2, chapter 2, verse 37. If you can open that, in the same link you will get 2:37. Okay, what it says: if you see the verse 2 to 37, somebody can read the translation if you have opened that. Okay, I'll read the translation. Yeah, go ahead.
Shall I, Prabhuji?
Yeah, read.
Those who drink through oral reception, fully filled with the accurate message of Lord Krishna, the beloved of the devotees, purify the polluted aim of life known as material enjoyment and thus go back to Godhead. The lotus feet of Him, the personality of Godhead.
Yeah. So just by oral reception, what do you mean by oral reception? Oral means by hearing. So just by oral reception, what happens? What we are hearing is the ultimate Lord, message about Lord Krishna, the pastimes of Lord Krishna and his devotees. So just by oral reception, what happens? One can go back to the lotus feet of Krishna. That means one can get liberation just by hearing. Just by hearing the message of the Lord, just by hearing the words of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is so important, it is so potent to just even hear also. Even if you sleep, even Shastra says that, when, as we have experience also, right? Many times when we start speaking the, class, people start sleeping at the same time. Backbenchers are going to sleep when you are hearing some katha. And then they suddenly wake up when the katha is finished. So even acharyas go to the point, they say that even if you sleep in Bhagavatam, but something still goes inside your ear, then also it is benefited to you. So just hearing is so important. And we know in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna says to Arjuna at many places, Tat Shrunu, Tat Shrunu. So Krishna says to Arjuna, now hear carefully what I am trying to say here. Hear carefully. So in Bhagavatam, when we are in the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam class, it is our duty to be very attentive while hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, what is being said. So even if you pay attention, just by hearing, one can reach to the lotus feet of the Lord. This is what Srimad Bhagavatam says, this is what our Shastras are saying. And this exactly has been proved by Parikshit Maharaj. He is the Acharya for hearing. So we have 9 processes of devotion, starts from hearing, right? We discussed that in other classes. So there are 9 processes, which includes, the first one is hearing, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. So these are the 9 processes of devotion through which you can reach Lord. Out of them, the first one is hearing. So hearing is very important. Shukdev Goswami has told Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, and he heard unattentively, he heard full attentively with undivided attention for 7 days and 7 nights. And just by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, he was liberated and he reached to the abode of the Lord. Right? So today we are going to discuss who was King Parikshit. Right? So last time we discussed a little bit about Lord Parikshit, King Parikshit. So today we'll go a bit in detail of his story, his birth, and what has happened to him, and how he met Kali Yuga started. He met Kali Purusha. So as we know, Kali is also one Purush. So we'll see the story of Parikshit Maharaj and the Kali Purush, of his encounter with Kali Yuga in Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? So let us begin the hearing and the reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So as we know, last time we saw who is King Parikshit. He is the grandson of Arjuna. Right? So he is a grandson of Arjuna. Son of Arjuna was Abhimanyu, who was killed in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And his son was Parikshit, King Parikshit. So there is a beautiful story of King Parikshit, that what was happened. So during the war, when there was the last days of the war going on, the Mahabharata war went for 18 days, and during the last days of the war, Ashwathama, who is the son of Dronacharya, Ashwathama has a boon of being Amar, so he was not killed in the war. So what did he do? Ashwathama, since he was a son of Dronacharya, he had all the military weapons and he know all the science of military science. So he had all the weapons. So what he did, he thought that I will burn the seed of Pandavas. I will burn the seed of Pandavas. And the seed of Pandavas is Abhimanyu. Seed of Pandavas is in the womb of Uttara, because everybody was killed. Sons of Draupadi were killed in the war, and Pandavas he could not touch. So he thought that let me kill the Vansh of Pandavas, let me kill their offsprings. So what he did, he he threw a Brahmastra towards the womb of Uttara. Now see, a very heinous activity. A lady is pregnant and you are killing the womb, the baby inside the womb itself. So which is, nowadays we know that as abortion, the word is abortion. So many people are doing that for female ferticide and all those things we know. But in those days also, Ashwatthama, what he did, he tried to kill the womb of Mother Uttara, right? It's the wife of Abhimanyu. So he threw the Brahmastra, which could not be conquered by anyone else, right? Brahmastra is the ultimate weapon. It's like the nuclear bomb. But it is very subtle than nuclear bomb also. Because nuclear bomb, if you throw, we know the Hiroshima and Nagasaki nuclear bomb story, atomic bomb, whatever you say. So when it is thrown, it destroys, catastrophic and destroys everyone. But this Brahmastra is very subtle. It will destroy only the target and don't do any harm to anybody else. So even he is directing that Brahmastra to Mother Uttara, but Uttara will not be killed, only the womb will be killed, the child will be killed, so there is no one left to rule over. So he threw the Brahmastra, and then Uttara was very frightened. She was frightened and she ran towards Krishna, because any calamity happens, everybody runs to Krishna. So still Krishna was present at that point of time. So she ran to Krishna and she said that please save me from this Brahmastra. The Brahmastra is heat of Brahmastra is a problem, causing me a very great problem. So immediately what Lord did, he entered into the womb of Uttara. The Krishna became very small. It is said that he was just the size of thumb, and he entered into the womb of Uttara, and he protected Parikshit, who was not yet born. He protected the baby who was yet in the womb, who was not yet born. He protected him from the heat of Brahmastra, and he took care of them. So actually it is said that the baby who was already inside the womb, he saw Krishna live face to face. He could see Lord when Krishna was inside the womb of Uttara, and he protected Lord Parikshit. So he was seeing him face to face, and he could not realize who this personality is, because he was not yet born. He didn't know anything. So now it is very interesting to see here that Uttara was praying to Krishna, but Lord Parikshit, who was still inside the womb, he did not do anything. He did not do any chanting. He did not do any prayers to Krishna, but still he was protected. Why? Because the mother was praying. So we should get a take away from this, that even if we are praying to Krishna, our whole family, our whole even our parents, even our kids, if we are becoming a devotee to Krishna, our lineages behind and our lineages coming who are not yet came also, they are also blessed. So even if the unborn children are also blessed if we are becoming a devotee. At the same time, the previous forefathers also who are not there on this planet, they are also blessed. So it is very great to become a devotee. If one becomes a devotee of Krishna, his 21 lineages above and below are all purified, and they are also blessed by the Lord. So this is what we see here from Bhagavatam. So Parikshit Maharaj was saved by in this way he was saved by by Krishna. Now what happened when he was born? When King Parikshit was born, he was named by Kripacharya. So Kripacharya was only left alive, because all Dronacharya was killed and all others were killed in the battle of Mahabharata. So Kripacharya was alive, so he was a Kulguru. Kulguru Kripacharya. So he was asked to name the baby and horoscope banao, kundli banao. So he was asked to do all those things. So he named the child as Parikshit, because that child was doing parikshan. Parikshan matlab kya? He was just checking everybody. That child who was born, he was checking everybody that is he Lord Krishna? Is he Lord Krishna? Is he Lord Krishna? Because he has seen inside the womb, remember? He has seen inside the womb Lord Krishna. So while coming out, he was just checking everybody that is he Lord Krishna? Is he Lord Krishna? So he was doing parikshan of everyone. That's why his name was Parikshit. So that's why he got the name as Parikshit. And he had very good qualities. He made a Bhavishwani, this Kripacharya made a Bhavishwani that he had a qualities, he will be a very righteous king, and he will have a quality like Arjuna. He will be very strong like a lion. He will be very steady like a mountain, and he will be very in dharma he will be like Yudhishthir. In strength he will be like Bhima, because he's the one shot of Pandavas. So he was having with all those qualities. One important quality which I want to tell is he was predicted that he will have a quality of like whoever comes under his shelter, he will protect the Sharanarthi. Like for example, if somebody is coming under his shelter, he will protect him like Maharaj Shibi, right? So Maharaj Parikshit will have a quality that of Maharaj Shibi, like Maharaj Shibi used to protect anyone who used to come under his shelter. So that was the quality of Parikshit Maharaj. Now one may say that who is Maharaj Shibi, because he was compared to Maharaj Shibi. So there is a very interesting story about Maharaj Shibi. It is said in Bhagavatam that Maharaj Shibi was very righteous king before, long in Satyuga times, and he was very whoever comes under his shelter, under his Sharan or under his Sharanagati, he would protect him, at the cost of his life also. So at once, what happened when he was ruling the earth, Maharaj Shibi? So Agni Dev and Indradev, Indradev is the king of heaven, and Agni Dev, the fire god, both decided to take the test of Maharaj Shibi. So it's a very interesting story for kids also, if there are any kids on the call. So what happened is, when Agni Dev, he took a form of pigeon, pigeon, kabutar. So Agni Dev took a form of a kabutar, and Lord of Heaven, which is Indradev, he took a form of a eagle, eagle. So that eagle was chasing a pigeon to eat. So that pigeon, what happened? That pigeon took the shelter of Maharaj Shibi, and the pigeon said to Maharaj Shibi that please protect me from this eagle who is trying to kill me and eat me. I am your, I am surrendered now to you. Please protect me, as I am the citizen of your kingdom. It's your duty to protect me. So Maharaj Shibi said, yes, definitely I will protect you. So then eagle came. So eagle also told that Maharaj Shibi, I am also a resident of your kingdom only. If you are protecting that pigeon, then what I will eat? You are taking my food away, so it is not good also. So what Maharaj Shibi told, he told that okay, you are hungry, you want to eat that pigeon, but that pigeon has come to my shelter, so I will not allow him to kill you. I will not allow you to kill that pigeon. So what I will do, whatever the weight of pigeon is, I will cut my flesh according to as per the weight of the pigeon, and I will give you. You can eat that. He gave to eagle. You're getting it? So he said that I will cut my flesh from my thigh and from my body equal to the weight of the pigeon, and I will give you that to eat. So there was an agreement, and then pigeon was weighed so many grams, and he cut that flesh, and then when he cut that flesh, the pigeon became more heavier. Suddenly the pigeon became more heavier. Then he cut more flesh and put to match the weight of the pigeon, and then pigeon became more heavier. So he was cutting his flesh to match the weight of the pigeon, but he could see that pigeon is getting heavier and heavier and heavier. So he cut his arm. Maharaj Shibi cut his arm also, another arm. He cut his legs also, but he could not match the weight of the pigeon. The pigeon was getting heavier more. So then when he finally said to his guards that now you can cut my head also and put that to match the weight of the pigeon. So at that point of time, pigeon, who was actually Agni Dev, and eagle, who was Indradev, came to their original form, and they said that we are happy with you, Maharaj Shibi. We were just making a test of you, that how you are, you are famous for your protection quality. So are you really protecting the people who are coming under your shelter or not? So we were just testing it. So you are very pass in your test. So they gave him all the benedictions and the blessings. So it is said that Maharaj Parikshit will be like him in protection of the Sharanagati. Whoever comes under his shelter, he will protect him like Maharaj Shibi. So that was the Maharaj Shibi's connection with Maharaj Parikshit. So then what happened? After the Mahabharata war was over, King Yudhishthira ruled for 30 years. Okay, when everything was settled down, Duryodhana, everybody was killed. So he became the ruler of Hastinapur. He ruled for 30 years. And then once he asked Arjuna, Yudhishthira asked to Arjuna to check whether how is Lord Krishna, just go and check whether Krishna is doing well or not in Dwarika, and just take an update of Krishna. On those times there was no phone call, there was no WhatsApp, or there was no email. So they have to go physically to check each other's well-being and all. So Arjuna went and he saw that Krishna has already left the planet, right, after the war. Krishna has already left the planet and he has gone to his Vaikuntha. So when he comes back to Yudhishthira and he says that now Krishna has left the planet, he is not there. So Yudhishthira was very sad. Yudhishthira felt, that now Krishna is not there, then why are we living on this planet? Because whatever we are doing is for Krishna. So if he is not with us now, there is no point of living. So Yudhishthira also decided to go to forest and leave their bodies. So he decided to make Parikshit as the king of the earth. So then king of earth became Parikshit Maharaj after Yudhishthira, and Parikshit Maharaj also ruled for 30 years, right? So that's how he became the king. Now, it happened once upon a time that when King Parikshit, as he was a very righteous king, very strong and well-being king, he was taking care of all the things in his kingdom. So when he was wandering once in his forest, so now we are on the text 18th of chapter 16, right? First canto, chapter 16, verse number 18. If somebody can read the translation. Divya Mataji, you'll read 1:16:18.
The personality of religious principles, Dharma, was wandering about in the form of a bull, and he met the personality of the earth in the form of a cow, who appeared to grieve like a mother who had lost her child. She had tears in her eyes, and the beauty of her body was lost. Thus Dharma questioned the earth as follows.
Yeah. So when Parikshit Maharaj was just wandering in his kingdom, he happened to see a bull. A bull in the personality of actually the bull is a personality of a religion, Dharma. So Dharma is representing as bull. So he saw a bull, a male cow, and he saw a female cow also. Who saw? Parikshit Maharaj. Okay. And he also saw that the bull was just standing on 3 legs, but standing on 1 leg. Bull's 3 legs were not there, and cow was weeping. Cow was crying, and cow was very in grief. So this is the scene he saw. Now, it is very if you read Prabhupada purports, you will understand that the Dharma, the bull, bull is representing Dharma, religion. So religion has 4 legs, right? Like the cow like the bull has 4 legs. So religion also has 4 pillars, right? So the 4 pillars of religion, the first pillar is truthfulness, right? Truthfulness. The second pillar is cleanliness. The third pillar is austerity, and the fourth pillar is mercy, right? I'll repeat. The first pillar is truthfulness. The second pillar is austerity. The third pillar is cleanliness, and fourth pillar is mercy, right? So that bull was only standing on 1 pillar, on 1 leg, and all the 3 legs were already broken, right? So what it means is, I would request all to go on mute, please. So what it means is, when Dharma is only on 1 pillar, that means only truthfulness was prevailing and all other 3 legs were broken. So in Kali Yuga, we see that the Dharma is not very prevalent, not very strong now. Nowadays people are not having so much of austerity, within themselves. Austerity means tapasya. So we cannot do so much of tapasya, we are not so much of austere. Then second is cleanliness. That leg is also broken in Kali Yuga. So we are not that clean. So what is mean by clean means from outside also, from inside also. We are not clean as it is required by Dharma. And the third is mercy. Mercy is also not very much. So mercy, you can say, mercy between other animals also, other human beings. So there is no daya. So daya is also very, very, very less, or it is almost reduced in Kali Yuga. So only 1 leg which is a little bit there is truthfulness. So people are still speaking truth to each other. That is the only 1 leg which is prominent in the Kali Yuga. So based on these 4 principles, 4 pillars, our ISKCON's 4 regulative principle which Prabhupada has given is also based. This 4 principles, what we say, is not coming from, out of the blues from somewhere. It is based on this religion. So what are the four principles what we follow in ISKCON is no animal, no meat eating, right? The first regulation, no meat eating, no eggs, no fish. That is the first regulatory principle. Why we are having that regulatory principle? Because it is directly linked to the pillar of mercy. So when you are having meat eating and all those activities which are not required, your daya is gone. When you are killing animals or killing other peoples or all those activities, your daya is removed. That is why to maintain that daya pillar, we have to follow this regulatory principle. Then what is the second one is cleanliness. So cleanliness, for that, what is Prabhupada's principle? What is the principle? What is in ISKCON we follow is no illicit sex. So we are not having any illicit sex outside marriage, which will ensure the cleanliness pillar of the dharma, right? The third is austerity, tapasya. So for tapasya, what is the regulatory principle in ISKCON is no intoxication, right? So when you are intoxicated, you cannot do tapasya, right? When you are having some intoxication, you cannot stand at one place properly, right? Your head is spinning and you are not in the proper mood. So when you are having intoxication, you cannot do tapasya. So those both are linked. And the fourth one is truthfulness. So for that, to maintain truthfulness, the ISKCON regulation is no gambling, right? So that is the fourth principle, because why truthfulness is associated with gambling? Because once you are doing gambling, you are more prone to tell lies. जब हम गैम्बलिंग करते हैं, जब हम जुआ खेलते हैं, तब हम झूठ ज़्यादा बोलते हैं. हमारा चीटिंग प्रोपेंसिटी ज़्यादा होता है. So when you don't speak truth when you are gambling. So based on these four pillars, our four regulative principles are also based. So this is as per the Bhagavatam, what the philosophy is. I hope you are getting it. So Parikshit Maharaj saw the bull which is having only one leg of truthfulness, and that bull was seeing a cow also who was crying. So there is a very beautiful discussion between a bull and the cow. So that bull is asking to the cow that why you are grieving, why you are crying, what is the reason of your crying? Are you crying at looking at my condition that 3 legs have been gone, or are you crying at at the condition that in Kali Yuga the people are not very obedient and they are slaughtering you, because we know that there are cow slaughters and all going on in Kali Yuga. So there is a very beautiful conversation between the bull and the cow. So we will read a few verses, you'll get to know what I am trying to say. So let us read the verse 20 from here. I will just the translation. Chapter 16, verse 20. Pradeep Prabhu, you can read the translation if you are there.
One second. 1:16 or
1:20. 1:16:20.
I can read.
Yeah, you can read Prabhu.
I have lost my 3 legs and am now standing on one only. Are you lamenting for the state of existence, or are you in great anxiety because henceforward the unlawful meat eaters will exploit you? Or are you in a sorry life because the demigods are now desperate of their share of sacrificial offering, because no sacrifices are being performed at present? Or are you grieving for living beings because of their sufferings due to famine and drought?
Read the 21 also, Prabhu.
Are you feeling compulsion for the unhappy women and children who are left forlorn by unscrupulous persons? Or are you unhappy because the goddess of learning is being handled by Brahmanas addicted to acts against the principle of religion? Or are you sorry to see that the Brahmanas have taken shelter of administrative families that do not respect Brahminical culture?
Yeah, read 22 also.
The so-called administrators are now bewildered by the influence of the age of Kali, and thus they have put all state affairs into disorder. Are you now lamenting this disorder? Now the general populace does not follow the rules and the regulations for eating, sleeping, drinking, mating, etc. And they are inclined to perform such anywhere and everywhere. Are you unhappy because of this?
Yeah. So all these questions is being asked by a bull to the cow. So that because cow is crying and weeping, the bull is asking why you are unhappy, or because of all these reasons that the Kali Yuga has started and people are not following the practices, they are not following the rules and regulations, they are killing the animals, they are killing slaughters, there are many slaughterhouses, they are not following the practices of eating, sleeping and mating and defending. What do you mean? Eating, sleeping and mating and defending means you whatever you like you can eat. This is not following the principle. Wherever you like, how much hours you like, you can sleep. All those principles. So there has to be some regulation in all those activities also. Mating. You cannot mate with everybody and anybody. That is not the culture. Sorry, anybody has something to say? Yeah, very good question. Very good question. So you see, by this, now you can mute. Yeah. So that's a very intelligent question to ask. That were the cow slaughtering there also at that time? Because of this, he's asking, right? So the answer is yes. See, because you have to understand that as soon as the Lord left the planet, the Krishna, as soon as he left the planet, the Kali Yuga started coming in. So Kali Yuga started coming in. As soon as the Kali Yuga started coming in, these practices are going on the rise. So now you see, there were initially people were killing cow. One people were killing cow. Now there are automatic slaughterhouses. They are killing in bulks. So it is more progressing as the Kali Yuga is progressing. But yes, to the answers to your question is yes. At that time also, that was onset of that. It is just the start of that. So that's why the bull is asking, are you unhappy because of this? That people are not, they will not be keeping you in a proper shape. They will be slaughtering you. The people are not behaving nicely, and their Brahmanical culture is lost. People have degraded. So these are all the signs of Kali Yuga, the qualities of Kali Yuga, which started coming during that time, right? So when this was all happening, and Mother Earth also replies to bull. With cow, bull is asking all these questions. So cow replies very beautifully. You can read the verse 34, the reply of the cow. Let's read the verse 34. What cow is saying in the reply of bull. Who will read?
Can I read?
Yeah, please go ahead. Samira Mataji, go ahead. Atheist kings.
Atheistic kings, and I was relieved by the grace of personality of Godhead. Similarly, you are also in a distressed condition, weakened in your standing strength, and thus he also incarnated by his internal energy in the family of Yaduns to relieve you.
Yeah, so what cow is replying, now you can go on mute. So bull is asking to the cow that why you are unhappy. So cow is replying, that when the Krishna was there on the planet, everything was flourishing nicely. I was very happy. When Krishna was there on the planet, he was grazing the cows on me. See, the cow represents here the earth. The bhumi. Bhumi, the earth, is the representation of cow here. The earth takes the form of a cow, and dharma, religion, takes the form of a bull. So this is the personality we are talking here. So that Mother Earth is replying to the bull in the form of the religion. She is saying that I was very happy when Krishna was here, and now when he has gone, Krishna has come for establishing of religion also. And in Bhagavad Gita we know dharma sanstapanathaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So Krishna says that I will come to establish religion. We learned in the shloka and Mukunda Mala Stotram also. Prithvi Bharanasha Mukunda. Jayatu Krishna, the last one. Jayatu Prithvi Bharanasha Mukunda. So we say that we pray to that Mukunda who is the Bharanasha of Prithvi. So whenever there is a burden on Prithvi, Lord comes and clears him and saves the Mother Earth. So Earth is replying that I was very happy when the Lord was there. Now the Lord is not there, so who will take care of us? Earth is complaining, Earth is crying because of that reason, that who will complain, who will take care of us? And she is replying to the bull. So when that thing was happening, now there is something interesting here, pay attention. Now when the cow and the bull was talking to each other, there is one more man standing next to them. And who was he? He was a Shudra. He was a Shudra, a low caste man, disguised himself as a king. He was disguised himself as a king, and the Shudra fellow was there. And what he was doing is, he was beating the bull. He was beating the bull, and he was beating the cow also. And he was about to break the fourth leg of the bull also. Already the bull was standing on one leg, right? So he was trying to beat the bull with a club, and he was trying to break the one leg of the bull also, and he was beating the cow also. So that scene was happening. So when Parikshit Maharaj came, he saw what is going on in my kingdom. I am still alive, I am the king of this earth, and this is nonsense thing going on. Somebody is hitting the cow and hitting the bull, and it is not allowed. See, now you see, in those days also, cow protection was a very prime importance. Not only cow protection, the protection of all the animals, all the human beings, because we saw that Parikshit Maharaj is compared to Maharaj Shibi in the quality of protector of Sharanagati. So whoever is in shelter of the king, Parikshit Maharaj has to protect him or protect the crowd. So like Maharaj Shibi did, what we saw the story of a pigeon, right? So Parikshit Maharaj, when he saw this happening, he was very upset, and he immediately told that who is this, he immediately asked who is this king, because he thought the king cannot be like this. So he was asking who is this, prime duty of the king is to protect all the entities. So he started chastising that person who is trying to hurt the cow and the bull, right? Then he asked actually to the bull that what is, because he did not knew earlier that who was he. He did not know that he is the religion himself. And he asked the bull that why are you crying, and why you are standing on this one leg, who broke all the three legs of you, and all sorts of questions he asked when he saw the scene. Then bull is replying to Parikshit Maharaj. He is saying that some philosophers are saying that I am in this condition because of my own karmas. Some saying that I am in this condition because of the problems, because of the threefold miseries, the miseries which are caused by the nature, the miseries which are caused by other living entities, the miseries which are caused by self. He started talking of religion, threefold miseries. We see in Bhagavad Gita also that there are threefold miseries: Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, and Adi Atmik. So there are threefold miseries. So bull started replying to Parikshit Maharaj that maybe because of these three reasons I am in this condition, and this cow is also grieving. So now you can decide by yourself what is the cause of my miseries. Who is saying? This bull is saying to Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj came to know that he is not an ordinary bull. This is, he is talking of religion. So he asked him to reveal himself, and then he came to know that he is Dharma himself, the bull, and the cow is Mother Earth. And the person who was beating, who was he? The person who was beating was the Kali Purush. The Kali Yuga, the Kali Purush, he was the person who was beating the cow and beating the bull. Right? So now, what happens further is, then Maharaj Parikshit, what he did, we know that Maharaj Parikshit was a very righteous king. So when he saw that Kali Purush is beating the cow and the bull, he at once took his sword, talwar, उन्होंने एकदम से अपनी तलवार निकाली, and he tried to kill that Kali Purush, because he wanted to give the punishment to that person who is killing the cow. Because he was a righteous king, he has to protect everybody, not only cow, he has to protect everybody, and cow is the topmost for protection, right? So he at once started killing that Kali Purush, who is disguised as a king. So that Kali Purush, the king himself, now he thought that now I will be king, I will be killed by King Parikshit. So he was very frightened, and then he came into his original form also. He came into the form of Kali. So he asked that I am Kali Purush, and I am in this your kingdom. So King Parikshit told him that you cannot stay in my kingdom, because I am follower of Dharma, and I have to practice Dharma, and you are Adharma. Because you are Kali, you are Adharma. So please go away from my kingdom. You don't have any place in my kingdom, right? Or else I will kill you now. So then Kali Purush, what he does is, he takes he goes into shelter of Parikshit Maharaj. He begs, वो उनसे माफ़ी मांगने लगता है. जो कली पुरुष होता है वो उनसे माफ़ी मांगने लगता है. He says that मुझे माफ़ कर दो, मैं आपकी शरण में आ गया हूँ. Save me, don't kill me, please allow me to stay in your kingdom. But then Parikshit Maharaj says that no, you cannot stay in this kingdom because you are adharma. Right? We'll go to the verse number 31 in chapter 17. Chapter 17, verse 31. I will read the translation. It says, the king thus said, we have inherited the fame of Arjuna, therefore since you have surrendered yourself with the folded arms, you need not fear your life, but you can remain in my kingdom for your friend of irreligion. You cannot remain in my kingdom for your friend of irreligion. So he says to Kali Purush that you cannot stay in my kingdom, right? But he still takes, वो मना क्यों करते हैं कली पुरुष को रहने के लिए? Because Parikshit Maharaj knows that Kali represents adharma, and where there is adharma, there will be all greed, falsehood, robbery, treachery, misfortune, cheating, quarrel, and vanity. So this is there in the 32nd verse. So he says that जहाँ पे कलयुग होगा, कलयुग का प्रभाव ज़्यादा होगा, वहाँ पे ये सब चीज़ें ज़्यादा होंगी. People will be more greedy, people will be more cheating, people will be more fighting, people will be more quarrelsome. So we see all these things around us, right? We see all these things now also because we are in the Kali Yuga, and this Yuga is of quarrelsome and hypocrisy. So we see people cheating each other, we see people putting others in trouble, not helping much. So all these qualities of Kali Yuga. So Parikshit Maharaj told that no, you cannot live in my kingdom, so please go away. Then further he still said that no, please allow me to stay, I am in your shelter. Whatever place you will tell me, I will stay in those places. Then Parikshit Maharaj was very, he became very compassionate on Kali Purush because he was a righteous king. So Parikshit Maharaj gave Kali Purush 4 places to stay. Now hear this very attentively. He was not willing to stay in his kingdom, but he gave 4 places to stay for Kali Purush, right? Which 4 places he said? Go to verse number 38, 17th chapter. Read the translation. Who will read? Pradeep Prabhu, now you can read. Are you ready?
Therefore, O chief, amongst the protectors of religion, please fix some place for me where I can live permanently under the protection of your government.
Yeah, read the next one, 38.
Okay, Sutta Goswami said, Maharaj Parikshit, thus being petitioned by the personality of Kali, gave him permission to reside in places where gambling, drinking, prostitution and animal slaughter were performed.
Yeah, so he gave 4 places, right, to stay for Kali Purush, right? If you go to the shloka, it says that he can stay at 4 places. Which are the 4 places? The first place Kali Purush can stay is the places where there is gambling happening, where there is jua, where there is gambling happening. That place Kali Purush can stay. Second place is drinking, where there is intoxication, drinking happening, Kali Purush can stay. Third is where there is prostitution, where there is illegal, illicit sex happening. I could not understand, somebody spoke something. And the 4th place is animal slaughter. So where there are these 4 things, animal slaughter, prostitution, gambling and drinking, intoxication happening, you can stay at those 4 places, right? This is the place of Kali Purush where the Kali Purush is staying. So if you are in contact with these 4 places, Kali Purush will have more impact on you guys. This is what Bhagavatam is saying. But then Kali Purush was not satisfied. He asked further to Parikshit Maharaj that please give me some more place to stay. I am not satisfied with these 4 places. I want some more place to stay. Then King Parikshit also told, okay, you want one more place? You can stay in the place where there is gold, right? So this is the 5th place where Kali is staying, where there is lot of gold, there is cheating, there is quarrel, there is problems. So Kali has 5 places to stay. Those 4, and the 5th one is gold, which is Srimad Bhagavatam is saying. Yeah, it is not my statement, right? So, sorry, what is the question? Yeah, so that's what So it should not be very lot of gold, because usually it is seen that where is gold, there is lot of wealth. So gold represents lot of wealth here. So where there is lot of wealth or lot of gold, there are always problems, the regarding the ownership, regarding the that this is my gold, this is not your gold, and fighting happens on that. So anything related to lot of gold, that means Kali is already there. So where there is Kali, there will be fighting, there will be quarrels, there will be problems, there will be tensions. You put your gold in the safe deposit, and then the floods come and the banks, you cannot open your locker, and you will be in tension that what will be happening to my gold. You'll be starting worrying for that gold. So the idea is that where there is lot of wealth, where there is lot of gold, there is Kali, which is said by Srimad Bhagavatam, and you have all sorts of tensions, problems, greed, worry, all this comes along with that. Yeah.
Prabhuji?
Yeah, go ahead.
Prabhuji, here drinking also mentioned. Here drinking means only alcohol, or coffee tea also includes?
So here it is intoxication. Drinking means here intoxication. Somebody can say that drinking is also applicable for water, but drinking water doesn't give you intoxication. It is, as I told you, that one leg of dharma is austerity. So when you are drinking, when you are in intoxication, you cannot do austerity. You cannot do tapasya standing on you cannot have samadhi when you are drunk, or when you are intoxicated with drugs, or all those sorts of things. So anything which gives you intoxication is not allowed as per Srimad Bhagavatam. This is what Srimad Bhagavatam says, right? Is it clear?
Prabhuji had one doubt regarding the gold over there. Can I ask you now?
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Prabhuji, now you touched a very critical subject. All ladies will ask you so many questions.
Yeah, see, this is Srimad Bhagavatam. I have to say the truth, what Srimad Bhagavatam is saying. Okay. So we'll read further. Yeah, so what happened is Kali, he gave 5 places to stay for Kali Purush, right? Because he was merciful. And then what he did, he asked to Kali to, you can stay in 5 places, and then he restored all the broken legs of the Dharma. Parikshit Maharaj restored all the broken legs of Dharma. He established Dharma in the footsteps of Krishna, because Krishna also came to establish Dharma. So when King Parikshit was there, he established Dharma again during his rule. The Kali Yuga has already started. You can say, for example, I can see Vishnu Prabhu's fan moving, so I can just remember example of a fan. So when you switch off the fan, for example, when the fan is running, when you switch off the fan still keeps on running, right? Even if the button is on, it still keeps on running. So that was that period when Kali Yuga has just begun. It is not full-fledged started, and it is the onset between it is the time between the Dwapar Yuga and the Kali Yuga. So that was the period. So it is just trying to pitch in. So this is the first encounter of Kali Yuga with Parikshit Maharaj. So this is how it happened. Now further, where all these things are going on, Sutta Goswami is telling to just remember the scene. So Sutta Goswami is talking to all the 88,000 rishis, and this katha is going on. So the Naimisharanya, the sages who are staying in the Naimisharanya, they asked to Sutta Goswami that we are not satisfied with this Parikshit Maharaj story. Please tell us more, that how Parikshit Maharaj died. How he died. Now it is birth we saw. They asked him how he died and what are the pastimes of his death. So then Sutta Goswami also starts again that what happened, that one Parikshit Maharaj was roaming in the kingdom, in the forest, and this is again an interesting story. Kids, please pay attention. So again, but Parikshit Maharaj was roaming in the kingdom, and he happened to be thirsty. He was very thirsty, he was very उनको बहुत प्यास लगी थी. He was very thirsty, and he went to one ashrama. That ashrama was for the sage Samika. There was a sage called Shamika, and there was the ashram for that sage. So when he entered, Parikshit Maharaj entered into that ashrama, the sage Shamika was in samadhi. He was in trance. His eyes were closed and he was meditating. He was very still. He was not moving at all. So Parikshit Maharaj thought for a moment that the king is here in this hermitage, in this ashrama, and the sage is not getting up to offer me water, seed or something. He he's not reacting anything to the king. How is this sage? The sage was in trance, he was in meditation, he didn't know who came and all. But Parikshit Maharaj thought that he became angry for a moment. Then what he did in the moment of that anger, what Parikshit Maharaj did is he took the skin of a dead snake. He took the skin of a dead snake, जो मरा हुआ सांप वहाँ पे पड़ा था, उसकी skin उठाई उन्होंने, and he put the skin around his neck, around the neck of a Shamika Rishi, right, in the moment of that anger. And then he went from this place that he is not behaving anything, he is not standing also, let me go away. So then he went. After that Shamika Rishi's son, whose name is Shringi, so that Shringi, who is the son of Shamika Rishi, he came to the ashrama and he saw that his father is in meditation and somebody has put the dead snake, skin of a dead snake around his neck. And at once he also became angry, and he thought, he chanted, he gave the curse to the person. He took the water and he just touched the water and he chanted a curse that whoever has done this activity, has done this wrong activity, will be bit by a snake bird called as Takshak after 7th day from now. Right? So he gave the curse to the person, not knowing who has done this. He gave the curse to a person that he will be bit by a snake bird, Takshak, after 7 days. So that curse has happened. Now Parikshit Maharaj doesn't know this. He already left from the scene. So when that sage Shamika got up from his meditation, he saw that, and then Shringi narrated that what all this happened. He threw the snake and then he asked what has happened, all this thing. And Shringi narrated that this has happened and I have given a curse. So that immediately he realized that who had come and what had happened. So he told to his son, see, now there's a very important thing to see here, that Brahmana, that sage didn't got angry on Parikshit Maharaj, that he did, this, he put that snake on me. He didn't got angry. That is the quality of a Brahmana, true Brahmana. Because he knew that the King Parikshit is very righteous king, he was a very Vaishnava king. So he, in fact, he told his son that what you have done is wrong. Without knowing, you should not curse the person. He is a very righteous king and he is very a brave king. Under his protection we are all living. Now once he dies, what will happen to the dharma? There will be nobody to establish dharma and everything will be chaotic, and Kali will prevail more. Because of his fear, Kali was not prevailing more. So now if he dies, what will happen? So this is the quality of a Brahmana. He chastised his son, and what he did? He didn't do anything. He told that even he went to Parikshit Maharaj. Who went? Sage Shamika. He went to Parikshit Maharaj and he told that you have been cursed like this and my son has cursed you and all. So, you please take care. This is what is going to happen. Because once curse is given, it cannot be reversed. It cannot be taken back. Now, Parikshit Maharaj is also a very great Vaishnava. He could also do the reverse cursing, that तूने मुझे श्राप दिया, like तूने मुझे थप्पड़ मारा, मैंने तेरे को थप्पड़ मारा. The what we do now, right? In Kali Yuga, what we do now, if somebody gives tit for us, we give tat. Tit for tat. That is the philosophy for Kali Yuga. But Parikshit Maharaj didn't do that. He didn't curse Shamika or he didn't curse Shringi back. Rather, he accepted that curse as the mercy of the Lord. So what devotees should do is also, if any problem comes, they accept that as a mercy of the Lord, because there is something behind that which we don't know. Because it is not our plan working, it is Lord's plan working. So even if we are in trouble, even if we are in some problems, we should not think that there is some we should not retaliate in a very strong way. We should see Krishna's mercy in that. So Maharaj Parikshit took that as a mercy, and then he thought that let me think that what I should do in these 7 days, since I am going to die. Let me do what is the real purpose of life. And when he knew that he is going to die, at once he left all his kingdom and all the righteousness and all the opulence what he had. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that he left the kingdom and everything like a person leaves mal tyag dete hain, jaise morning mein when you go for your bowel movement in the morning, are you attached to the the excreta what you are leaving behind? You are not attached, right? So you just flush it out. So same Parikshit Maharaj also did. He just left all the things as person is leaving his mal and mutra. So like that he just gave up his kingdom and he went to the forest. He went to the bank of river Ganges Then he started asking to all the other sages that what I should do in these 7 days to perfect my life. What I should do. So then everybody suggested that you should hear. Again, Shrunu. We have started from listening only, and we are ending this class also with listening. So all the sages instructed Parikshit Maharaj to listen to the glories of the Lord in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So all the sages unanimously told, he was asking that let me know what I should do. A person dying in 7 days. For example, if you know that you are going to die in 7 days, what all you will do? You will gather all your gold, you will gather all your passwords of the bank, and you'll write your will and all those things we will do, right? But Parikshit Maharaj didn't do that. He instead asked to the all sages what we should do. So all told him to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and then our main hero comes, Shukdev Goswami, who will narrate this Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. Right? So this is the story of King Parikshit and how he met Kali Purush and how Kali Yuga started. So we saw very nice Srimad Bhagavatam stories. Hope you had understood a little bit, and maybe I did something a little justified, because normally one shloka of Bhagavatam, the lecture goes for 1 hour. Now we are covering 3 chapters in 1 hour. So I may be truncating some points, but I hope I am making myself clear. Hare Krishna. If we have some questions, we can take 1 or 2 questions. Yeah.
This yuga is called the Kali Yuga because this is when the Kali started to take over the world. Like all the bad things entered the world, and the adharma was starting to establish.
Yes, correct. This is why it is called Kali Yuga. You are correct. This is why it is called Kali Yuga, when adharma started pitching in more and when dharma is reducing. So in Satya Yuga there were all 4 legs of dharma. In Dwapara Yuga there were 3 legs. In Treta Yuga there were 3 legs. In Dwapara Yuga there were 2 legs. In Kali Yuga the bull is standing only on 1 leg, which is truthfulness. So dharma is reducing as we are progressing. You are correct. Any other question?
Thank you for clearing.
In the last 1 week, when he asked that what should I do in the last 1 week, generally we say that listen to Bhagavad Gita, right? Recite Bhagavad Gita. But why did he say to go to Bhagavad and not Bhagavad Gita?
See, this is what we discussed in the last class. I think you didn't join that. So Bhagavad Gita.
Can't hear you, Prabhu.
Can you hear me?
You went on mute, looks like.
No, I am not on mute. Can you hear me now?
Prabhu, we can't hear you still.
We can hear him.
Yeah, I can. I am audible to all, I think. Vishnu Prabhu, check your speaker.
Yes, okay, clear.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, clear.
Okay. So in the last class we saw that Srila Vyasadeva has written so many scriptures, and then he was not satisfied himself. Srila Vyasadeva written Mahabharata, he written 4 Vedas, and he written Itihasas like Ramayana, Mahabharata and all other things. So Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata. So he was not satisfied by writing all those scriptures, and then Narad Muni comes and he instructs him that you have not written anything about the glorification of the Lord, about the pastimes of the Lord, which will give people solace and which is the ultimate thing which people should hear. So he writes then Srimad Bhagavatam. That is what we covered in the last section, right? So if you read Bhagavad Gita, it is the instructions which are given by the Lord, right? In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord is instructing what we have to do. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, when you go to Srimad Bhagavatam, it is the glorification of the Lord, it is the glorification of the pastimes of the Lord, what activities Lord did. In Bhagavad Gita, he says, Janma karma cha me divyam. So if you understand my Janma and Karma, you will be relieved from this world and you will not take birth again. This is what Bhagavad Gita says. But where you will understand Janma and Karma? From Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavad Gita is like graduation, and Srimad Bhagavatam is post-graduation study. Right? So whatever Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, he has proved in Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is why we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, to know more about the Lord, to know his pastimes, to know his Janma, to know his Karma, what all activities he did, what are the avatars he took, in each avatars what he has done. Now from next week onwards we will be starting the avatars, so maybe we will go to the Varaha avatar, like that. So all different avatars will come. So this is where Srimad Bhagavatam is. Okay?
Prabhuji, one more question.
Yeah, please.
Parikshit Parikshit Maharaj is a very righteous king. So why he has to leave? I mean, he has to act like this.
Why he has to?
Why he is cursed and he has to die like this?
Yeah, that's again very important question. That's very good question, Prabhu. So Parikshit Maharaj is a righteous king. So why he has to do all those things where all those nasty activities and he has to die within 7 days? See, there are many aspects for this question. One aspect is, I will give you two aspects to understand. So first is, as I said, he was in a moment of anger. So in that anger, because of Kali Purusha, because Kali Purusha was there and he entered his mukut also, because his mukut was of gold. So he entered Kali Purusha there for momentarily, and he was under the influence of that anger, and he did that activity of putting that skin to that Brahmana. And he also later repented that activity, that I should not have done this. He was lamenting for that activity. So because of that anger moment, even Parikshit Maharaj, he can be under that influence because of that anger and because of Kali Purusha. What to speak of us? That is one aspect. Second aspect is because Lord wanted that Srimad Bhagavatam to come in the picture. If you see, why Lord has instigated all this Mahabharata war, and he has pushed Arjuna for this war, so that Bhagavad Gita can come in for everybody of us. So similarly, for Bhagavad Gita to come in, there has to be a scene setting which Lord is arranging so that Bhagavad Gita can be spoken by him. Similarly, it is Lord's will that Parikshit Maharaj has done that activity and the curse has happened and the 7 days were given so that Srimad Bhagavatam can come in picture. There has to be some, so that the devotees of the Lord, they are not like ordinary persons, as you said that he was a righteous king. So devotees of the Lord are very, they are having a purpose in life. So for their, they are the medium to do something higher. Like Arjuna became the medium for Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Parikshit Maharaj became the medium for Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is one of the Lord's arrangement why it is done. So these are the two aspects why Parikshit Maharaj did that. Okay. I think we'll stop here.
One question, last question from
Yeah, Prabhu.
Actually, Parikshit Maharaj he did like Krishna, he did Dharma in the 4 lakhs. But why he did make against Samika in that angry his king? Because he is a very good person, but why he got angry that time and why he used to his king generally?
So that is what That is what I told. So I gave you two aspects which I told to Paradeep Prabhu. So because he was in the momentarily he was in that angry mode, and the anger got heavier on them on him because of Kali Purusha also. He was wearing a mukut of gold also, and Kali Purusha entered in that mukut also. So under the influence of Kali, he was also under the influence of Kali for that particular moment. So even Parikshit Maharaj was under that influence. That's why I told to Pradeep Prabhu that we should be very careful of this 5 places where the Kali Purusha are lying. So we should be keeping away from those places as far as possible. And another answer is the Lord has to, Srimad Bhagavatam has to come up. So there has to be some scene setting. It is the master plan of the Lord also that this is how it will happen, and Parikshit Maharaj will become the medium to instigate Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. I think we'll stop here. It's already 8:40.
Prabhu, I have one request to everyone. In our homeschooling as well, work from home as well, everybody is being requested to get ready and sit in front of your computer. So similarly, for this Bhagavad Gita class or Bhagavatam class, I request everyone to get ready and sit in front of their computer or mobile. Please open up your camera. The speaker needs to see the people. There is engagement required. It's not a telephone conference call. This is a video conference.
Thank you,
So I
Prabhu.
would request everyone to get ready, get dressed. You are doing a Bhagavatam. Glory towards the Lord. Please sit in front of the computer. Open up your cameras. Face-to-face contact is very important. Eye-to-eye contact is very important. Speaker needs to be engaged. Speaker is doing free of charge, without any money. Please cooperate the speaker.
Wonderful message.
Thank you, Prabhu. And I would like to nicely see people wearing tilak also, because today was the tilak challenge. So I don't know, some of you are there with Tilak, some of you are not, but then that's okay. Let's hope all are there. So yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So yeah, engagement is required. So this is not a physical class, this is online class. So the more engagement we have is more, the more interactive, the more questions we have, it is good for everybody's understanding. And you are all today I see, I think 20 families are joining, so it is very nice to have all the families here. So that's very nice to hear Srimad Bhagavatam.
Thank you everyone. We have a lot of new people from our regular class.
Yeah.
And I appreciate everyone to continue their engagement in this.
Sure. Hope all are in the group of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why you're joining. So thank you all. Thank you all for joining. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
We have people from India also. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you Vishnu Prabhu.
प्लीज हम लोग नहीं ज्वाइन हो पाए क्लास पे बिकॉज हमारा विष्णु सहस्त्रनाम चल रहा था.
हाँ कोई बात नहीं माता जी. I saw you joined a little bit late. That's okay.
तो कल से हम लोग ज्वाइन हो जाएंगे.
Sure माता जी.
So,
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.